Welcome to Love of the Game. I'm your host, SJ, and today joining us is Canberra Gunners point star, William Mayfield. All-round man, does everything for the Canberra Gunners. Thanks for joining us today, Will.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
Beautiful. We're going to recap the Canberra Gunners' solid start to the season, 16-2, and the upcoming game up against the Red Hot Sydney Comets, and then also the playoffs that's in store, because I know the Canberra Gunners are going to have a deep run there. Before we start the show, I'd like to thank our major sponsor, Precise Accounting Group, for a dream teammate. They help you get bang for your buck this tax season. Give the team from Precise a call. Now, Will, 16-2, your Canberra Gunners are on fire this year. What's been working for you guys?
I think just playing together, we've got a really good system that we sort of follow week in, week out. We do a really good job of scouting the teams we play each week. And yeah, man, we're just lucky to have some key guys that really just keep this team together. We're lucky we got the big fella. He obviously does so much for our team, and we sort of just work our whole offense around him. But yeah, man.
Glenn Morrison. Man, it's funny because every time I kind of think about the whole MVP candidate thing, you don't really see his name up there in the points, rebounds, and things like stats. But then when you look at the box score, man, he's always doing everything, and he's efficient as hell.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like playing with Glenn Morrison?
Man, I've been playing with Glenn since we were 15, 16 years old. So I've just seen his evolution, and man, it just makes playing basketball so much easier. As you're saying, so efficient, but does everything on the court. So he blocks holes that you wouldn't even think about. His help defense is probably the best in the competition. And yeah, he's not really in that MVP conversation because he's not he doesn't go out there to just score 40 every game. He does what's required to win, and he's proven that in the last 3 years. He's two-time All-Star 5. He's got a Finals MVP. He's just the glue for our team, man. And he's a great captain too. He keeps us all together, gets us fired up, and really leads from the front.
Yeah, I've actually got him number 3 in my MVP rankings for 2024. I'm going to post that up later on. But yeah, he's definitely up there, especially the way he's been ending this season. And as a collective, all you guys have been kind of balling as of late. I want to talk to you about your sort of starting 5. It's very versatile. Everyone does their role perfectly. You got Derek, the point guard. You got James, Cameron, yourself, and Glenn Robertson. How has that gelled, and kind of what makes you guys special? Because the thing that always surprised me about you guys is, man, there's not one player that you kind of expect to drop 30 or 40 every game. It's a collective. And if one of you guys are off, Lachlan Smith from the bench just picks it up with his scoring. How's that starting 5 working well?
I mean, as you said, super versatile. If someone's down, it's obviously going to get picked up by other people. But adding Derek this year, he wasn't here last year or my previous year, he's just such a solid player. He can really excel. No one's seen how good he really can be. He's sort of holding back. He's probably one of the most skilled players in the league. He's competing with the rest of us, I guess, because we are such a strong and ball dominant starting 5. Yeah, man, Derek has been so good for us. And then obviously James Toohey, all I can say, defensive player of the year, man. He guards the best player week in, week out. And he's proved it all season. And it's just, yeah, man, he's too good for us.
And the reason why I want to also mention Derek's game is, I remember, look, you guys have had 2 losses this year. One was against Maitland, and the other one was a back-to-back up against the Centre of Excellence. So after that loss against Maitland, I know you guys versed them a couple of rounds ago. You guys were up big at halftime. And then I know Derek, he kind of had a bad game, first 3 quarters. Christian Little, William Cranceland were kind of giving him sort of full court pressure and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of stepped up. You kind of took control of the offense, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists that game. And you also had 5 steals, leading the league in steals. But Derek kind of found himself in that sort of second half where he kind of contributed to the game, especially as Maitland made that big run towards that third quarter. How do you guys kind of adjust mid-game to kind of other teams' defensive schemes?
Well, it's hard really because we're known to play our one pace, which is pretty much get into the half court and get it to Glenn. So when teams do throw us out of it, yeah, as you said, we've got to like work it on the fly. I guess our biggest thing is just trying to get it up the court quick, because when we're slow to get it up the court, we're slow to get into our sets. So I think that myself and Pete really sort of try and get into it. Everyone else's ear about getting the ball up quick, man. Like, we work together. James Tui has been really good at bouncing back and playing some of that point guard to like alleviate pressure from Derek. But man, yeah, it's just all about on the fly. Sometimes we know we've got to pick up that pace. And like our latest game, missing Derek, we played faster than we have all year. So it just shows like at that level of pace that we play at with and without like our point guards, because we don't have a true point. It's just kick the ball up and get into our sets.
Now let's talk about that Sutherland Sharks game last week. Happy belated birthday also. I know it was your birthday weekend.
Appreciate it.
And bro, you delivered with a triple-double. What was it? 26 points, I think. 11 assists and 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
And I want to give you a special shout out too, because look, man, you were kind of like your offensive game wasn't up to scratch as much. But over the last 3 games, you scored 20 points over your last 3 out of 4 games. What's been working for you offensively lately?
I think really focusing on distributing the ball first, getting into my shots, like working myself into the game. I'm finding myself trying to look for my teammates a little bit more, just because this season I've been poor from beyond the arc. Definitely downhill, like I'm a slasher, so getting downhill is my main game. Definitely looking to facilitate and then try and get downhill, really working with Glenn, come off those pick and rolls. Find like Tui in the corner, or like just dump it down to the big fella. Really just try and take some pressure off me, so then I can get into my zone and try and do some things.
And man, one thing that I love about your game is literally your hustle, your enthusiasm, your energy. And I think I mentioned to you just earlier, the first time I actually got to saw you play live was against the Hills Hornets. Chris Bryan is my guy, so I kind of went there to kind of like watch the Hills Hornets and things like that. And then I saw you did a dunk, and then you kind of gave him a bit of a flex and a bit of a look, and then you dominated that game, man. I actually thought you were going to drop 40. I think you ended on 26 points, got the W, which is all that matters. But how much do you pride yourself on being that energy guy for the team?
Yeah, I definitely think in that first unit, I had a whole lot of energy. I think I take pride in it, but it's really, we bounce off each other, man. Like, I get myself hyped, which means my teammates get up and about, which gets me even more excited. And sometimes I do drop off, and man, like everyone just brings each other up. But yeah, I've got to try and bring that tenacity week in, week out. Just try and show other teams we mean business.
And I need to ask you, look, because as I said, I play basketball myself, and I pride myself on kind of being a defensive kind of like specialist, get the steals, get in there. What makes you so special on the defensive end? Like, how do you stand out on the defensive end where you can kind of predict what's going to happen to get those steals?
Not sure really. I play off my man a lot, so I'm sort of roaming around. So I'm really looking for those intercepts. Always looking to sort of bait the defender. I always get in trouble because I'm trying to gamble for those steals all the time. Like, I always get torched for it, but like if there's an opportunity for it, like I always go for it. But I don't know, just really play like a free safety sort of area. Play like a zone on the court instead of just sticking to my man. But yeah, it also comes back to just doing our scout, knowing who's a passer, who I'm looking for, who's going to back up, who's going to stay on the 3-point line. Put it all down to all of our scouts now, doing film week in, week out.
And that's why I respect it so much, man, because I do the same thing. And a few of my teammates will be like, hey, bro, that's your man. Stay on him. I was like, nah, I know what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to get that steal, trying to tempt him into the pass. Yeah. And, bro, you're leading the league in steals, and you had one game this year where you had 9 steals. What was that like? Have you ever got 9 steals before in a game?
Like local comp, so nothing at this level, of course. I was up and about for it against Bankstown. I'm pretty sure at home in front of the crowd. Same thing. Like we were saying, I was baiting it. Like smaller guards, I'm just sitting off, trying to throw the pass over, and I just get up. But yeah, a lot of loose balls. So man, I was just happy to get my hands on a couple of them, and a good team win that one. So I think put it down to like Tui as well, man. He was all over the defense, which putting pressure on them means it's easier for me to get those steals. Like he's up in their face, they're trying to throw cross-court passes, and I'm just right there waiting for them.
And one thing I love about it too, you always finish it off with a highlight dunk. Honestly, I literally do believe you're leading the league in dunks. And most of them are always some quality viewing. I got to ask you though, and I need
Mm,
you to be honest. All right.
mm.
With the whole Canberra Gunners footage, it pisses me off when I kind of watch the games,
Oh,
and then the camera footage will kind of zoom in, and it's like, man, why are you doing that?
you just miss every highlight. You see him coming down the lane, and then it zooms in. He cuts out the
Hmm.
bottom of the backboard, and it's like, what are they doing? Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Well, we've tried to talk to them, but man, they're just going to do their thing. We're happy they're filming
Yeah,
at least.
yeah, because bro, that was one of my pet peeves. I was watching. I'm like, man, I'm trying to enjoy it, but it kind of changes. But at least it's not as bad as Newcastle. I don't know if you've seen the Newcastle footage where you kind of miss heart at the top of the screen, man. When you're shooting the three, you're kind of like,
Yeah,
oh man, all right, let's wait to see if this goes in.
yeah. It doesn't show the ring at all, and it's sort of got a pan see if someone's going to rebound or it's coming out the net. Yeah, you got to wait to the commentators to see if anyone's actually hitting anything.
So I'm double checking. You guys have actually raised that issue with them.
We've chatted to obviously coaching stuff and whatnot, but I'm not sure who actually does the filming. That's the thing, and I'm too scared to because it's up on a big sort of scaffold. I'm
Mm.
too scared to climb up there and ask. But man, yeah, we've talked to coaching staff and whatnot. It's just an issue.
Yeah,
I don't know how we're going to fix it.
yeah, man. Because that definitely needs to get fixed, man. Because look, you guys are playing a lot of highlights and things like that. So there's a lot of people
Mm,
that kind of want to see this footage, and then when you see that, it kind of just like, man, get that fixed up. Now,
yeah.
look, we're going to talk about your current season, averaging 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and as I said before, over 3 steals a game, number 1 in the league. And you also claimed the Anzac medal this year. What did that mean to you when you won that award?
Oh, very special to me. Old man, obviously, serving like army member. So it was really nice for him to present me the medal as well on the day. Yeah, very special. I actually gave the medal back to him. He's got it hanging up in the house. Um, yeah, obviously getting the win on a day like that, and then having your dad present you the Anzac medal, it's always like a really nice sentimental feeling. And I always cherish that moment. Always play my heart out on Anzac rounds for that reason. So yeah, man, yeah, it was a good one. I was very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I didn't know your dad presented you the award, but man, that would even make it even
Mm,
more special to get that.
yeah, it was good, man.
And now that he's got it plaqued up on his wall, that's going to be a lifelong memory for him too. So, nah, that's really good to hear. Now, look, we're going to talk about like your season, 16-2, but I want to talk about those 2 games in particular against Maitland.
Mm,
First game, round 2, start of the season. You guys got absolutely pumped
smoke,
to be nice about it,
smoke.
90 to
Mm.
69. So when the round 2 came up and you versed them in round 12, 82 to 80 winners. But I want to talk about that halftime. You guys were up 18. How were you? What was your mindset going to that second half?
We always knew like they're an incredible team. Have a lot of respect for their boys, and we knew exactly what was going to come, and we couldn't stop it. They we knew they were going to turn the pressure up, start applying full court pressure, trap, and just get out and start running. Um, they played a really fast lineup with James Hunter sitting on the bench a lot to run Mortimer, try and get Glenn moving a lot more, and it worked for him. And we couldn't. That's always been an issue for us coming out of half and then just not matching the intensity the other team brings. Um, but we did well to come back in that fourth and sort of just hold off what they were bringing to us. There were a lot of times there where there were a lot of unnecessary turnovers, a lot of cross court passes where we just didn't need to do, we didn't need to do it. But yeah,
Yeah, because you made a great point. And so for
mm,
me, the thing that caught my eye that most about that game was you actually shut down the whole Maitland Mustangs starting 5. I think William Cranston-Lown top scored with 10 points and no one else over double digits. But it was, Mortimer and Milburn off the bench that kind of made some noise. So if you guys do face them again, what are you guys expecting?
just expecting the exact same. They're high intensity. They're probably going to come out like they did in that third quarter from the jump and try and get us. Um, yeah, that's probably Will's lowest scoring season in the game, like game of the season, and he's not going to do that again. He's played us for years. He knows exactly how we work, and he's not going to let that affect him. And he works it out in other ways though. So that game he might only scored 10, but he had 6 rebounds, 10 assists, 8 steals. Like he's definitely the head of the snake and like one of the top 5 players in the comp easy. Like he's always going to be dangerous. He leads them. He makes them play fast. And now that he's got a defensive guard with him, he takes a lot of pressure off him. They're just even more tough than they have been in the last 2 years.
I need to ask you an honest question. Do you keep track of how the Maitland Mustangs are going more than any other team in the competition? Or do you kind of just play it and see how it goes?
I think so, definitely, because they between them and us, we've been sitting on top of the ladder all year. They went on a very long run of not losing a single game. So, I think we definitely keep an eye on them, especially now as well that we've got a game on them. We kind of want to hold that top spot. Minor premiers would be nice. But yeah, we definitely keep an eye on them. We have, obviously them being like finalists the last 2 years, they're always a dangerous team. Always want to keep on an eye on where they're sitting and next time you're matching up with them and things like that.
Because look, for me, I know it's going to sound weird, and I don't know exactly if it works like this, but if you guys play like that home semi-final, either going to Canberra, like Maitland going to Canberra or Canberra going to Maitland will be a massive, massive advantage. I want to ask you about these road trips, man. How do you enjoy it? Like, do you enjoy them? How do you find them? Because they're long, bro, 6-7 hours sometimes.
Yeah, the Maitland-Newcastle one is definitely my least favourite. Obviously, having to play Maitland because they're such a tough team, like it showed. Like, look what happened to us when we went up there. Pulled out a gutsy win on the Sunday against Newcastle too, but we're just always gassed. And I can say the same for them coming down. They come out slow. Like that first half, we sort of get the jump on them because like they've just travelled 6 hours to get down to us. We had a really tough first half of the season where we had a lot of double headers away. So we get like Central Coast, we come back the same night. So it was like we're getting home at like 2, 3 in the morning and then trying to back up 2 days later to train. It's sort of tough. But the double headers away in Sydney, always super, super tough.
Yeah, because I think that's one thing that in this competition is kind of a bit underappreciated, or like the travel that you guys actually have to do. Like most of you guys work, have family and things like that, and then having to travel 6-7 hours and then come back. Like I remember talking to, I think Mason Bragg last time he had a game down there in the West Bulls. And he's like, oh, bro, I actually have to jet straight away because we actually, I got to sleep and then we got to go to Central Coast on the Sunday for like a 1 p.m. game or something like that. And yeah, it's crazy, but that's why I kind of respect what you guys do. I know it's not easy, but you guys put in the work, and fingers crossed, especially with Canberra, you guys can do well this season, because I just have a feeling, man, you and Maitland Mustangs have another chapter to add to your story. But look, we're going to talk about the next team. You're versing them this round 13. Another team that's red hot at the moment, the Sydney Comets. Since Bawali Bales has come back from injury, bro, this team is hitting on all cylinders. Even on a bad shooting night, they hit 90 points easy. What have you made of that team, and kind of what do you guys have to watch out for the Sydney Comets?
Yeah, we played them at home without Bawali and just scraped over to get the win. But man, they're like a high tempo, really talented team. They got Chol off the bench as well, who's like the last couple of games has just been cooking, which is bad for us because he is just a straight sharpshooter. But yeah, man, Wally obviously coming back and just killing everyone. We're gonna obviously have to target him defensively, try and slow him down. But he is such a good facilitator and scorer. He gets to his positions with ease. I think they're super talented. One of the teams I really don't want to see in the finals just because of the tempo they play at and the amount of shots they can make. They've got guys all over the floor. They've got a 7-footer that can stretch the floor out and really hit that three as well. So, yeah, they're probably one of the teams I don't want to see. Some really talented dudes off the bench as well. Akuso starting now as well. He's a talented, really young lefty. He's tough defensively for them. So, yeah, definitely looking to try and avoid them because they're going to be trouble, I'm telling you.
Yeah, man, because the thing that kind of caught my eye about the Sydney Comets the most is, they had a lot of injuries during that mid part of the season, but like Anthony Mundine, Akuso, Wacher, they all got to play big minutes. So with the addition of Bawali Bayless and Aubrey Kai and these guys, if they can get their shots going, I saw some stats before, man, like they hit 17% from three, but they still scored 90 plus points. And then they had a few games where they scored over 120 plus points. And it's their bench for me that's the key. Like, you know what you're going to get from Boali, but if you can kind of shut down the rest, you should be sweet. Now, I know James Tui is going to be D'ing up on Boali Bales. Are you going to be pushing in for that still, or are you going to be easing back up? What's the game plan for yourself in that game?
See, I probably do the same as I do with Will, man. Like, he's such a tough point guard to sort of read. He makes those, like, you don't know if he's going to pull up on a dime and just drill it, or he's just going to find whoever's open. So, man, I think my matchup, I'll probably, depending on starting lineup, I'm probably going to have Okuso, and he's mainly like 45, but he's like 45 corner, but man, he's been hitting that three lately, so probably going to have to sit a little bit further out, but yeah, I'll be looking to blitz definitely. Try and pick up a couple steals here and there.
Yeah, because honestly, that's my matchup of the round for exactly the reason that you said. This Sydney Comets team is dangerous and they're starting to make some noise. So if you're kind of in that sort of like top four, you want to kind of avoid playing them in the second round. So you definitely want to win that semi-final, and having them travel to either Canberra or Mustangs will kind of, I guess, as you said, they got those fresh legs will kind of affect them a little bit.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about, look, your season so far, as I said, 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. But the last 4 or 5 weeks, your offense has started to click a bit more. How excited are you for this time of the year? Kind of like the playoff time. Does that kind of get you going a bit more than the hustle bustle of like the start of the season?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first couple rounds always slow to get into it, and then there's always the hump in the middle. But man, these last 4 rounds are always my favorite. Just really, really prepping for finals. Finals time is always a different beast, man. And like we've proved, we play our best in finals, especially this team with a couple key guys who have been to grand finals and won it. Like, we know what we've got to do, and we're just always going to put our best foot forward. And every team brings their best. Like, there are teams going to be facing elimination, so we can't come out cruising. We've got to come out with everything we got. And I know a lot of the guys, even though we have got younger since last year, man, I know a lot of them are just up and ready for it.
And that was my next question too, because look, you just mentioned how you guys won it in the first NBL1 East when you first sort of developed, and then you kind of bounced after you won that grand final. You signed for the Castec Rural Pioneers in the NBL1 South. What was that change like, and how did you have to break the news to Glenn Morrison that you were leaving?
Yeah, look, Glenn, I always keep honest with, keep it 100 with P and Glenn, but I wanted to try and see if I could play at that next level. And I had a decent sort of finals run and picked up a little attention. And I got in contact with the coach down there and, figured out a move. And I just wanted to see if that was the right thing for me. Obviously, I'm a super strong team, super strong league. It's not always going to work out, but like, at least I can say I went there and had a crack. We lost in the semi-finals with that team, but played with some awesome dudes, really learned different style. Got to play under like a superstar like Nick Marshall, who guarding him week in, week out really sort of elevated my defense, helping me read the game and just watching what he can do. It was definitely an eye opener into like the different leagues and the way the different teams play. So it's a good experience, but man, I was very happy to come home for this season.
No, beautiful. And mate, Canberra's lucky to have you back. Because as I said, look, this team is special. And I just did my NBA sort of NBL1 East to NBA team comparison. And I had you guys kind of as like the Denver Nuggets. And your game kind of reminds me a bit like Aaron Gordon. And that's why I kind of did it. Like, you had that big man and you got the Aaron Gordon where you can kind of do it all. And in those games, you can kind of drop that 30 piece, 40 piece. But you know, every time you're going to get those rebounds, you're going to get the steals, you're going to get all the 1%ers that kind of sometimes gets underappreciated when you're not playing. But look, that's my next thing is your love for the game. How did it start? And did you kind of mold your game around a certain player that you were growing up watching?
A little bit. So I was never real good as a junior. It sort of translating today. I was always slower on the offensive sort of end of the basketball. But I've always had that sort of that guts, that determination. Always wanted to work harder. Coming from like a rugby background, it sort of translated a little bit into the defensive side and always diving on the ball. Always playing physical. Always grew up watching Blake Griffin, so like that's always been my favorite player. I wish I could jump like Blake, but man, like I just love the way he plays. I just love the energy he brings as well, especially his rookie year and sophomore year and things like that. Yeah, I tried to sort of just play tough, gritty basketball my whole life. The change only really occurred when I went to New York, and that's when I sort of picked up a different style. But yeah, man, just always coming from footy, just playing different than everyone else, super physical, trying to bump people out of their spots, really get in people's heads, just using that background to sort of get an advantage in basketball.
Yeah, it was funny you mentioned Blake Griffin, man, because I'll go for the Detroit Pistons. So when Blake Griffin actually got traded to Detroit and actually led us to that playoffs up against Milwaukee,
Yeah.
man, that's kind of like being my lone highlight for a couple of decades now. With the Detroit Pistons, and Blake Griffin. I know you might not hear this, but I love what you did for Detroit. I know you kind of played on busted knee, but that's the same thing you said. It was the heart and determination that he had. Now you mentioned another key point there. You going to New York. What was that experience like? And was there sort of an itch to kind of wanted to kind of grow and develop and play international basketball now?
Yeah, it was definitely a decision that it kind of shocked us. It came really quickly. I was over there doing a couple camps and then got approached to finish high school there. Um, but yeah, playing in New York, they're totally different like style of basketball. They're pure offensive, one out sort of, and going over there, as I was saying, is just like a defensive guy, someone who's come from footy. It was a super hard adjustment, but I guess that year, our and it's just the coaches over there are as crazy as the movies, man. Like I was staying at the school sometimes because like we'd finish school, we'd have uh we'd have an hour of like homework, so we'd finish like 4 hour homework till 5, and then we train till 10 p.m. every night. Like yeah, it was like 5 hour sessions. You'd have like 2 hours, half hour break, and then 2 hours, and then conditioning afterwards. Like it was just nuts. Or if it was shorter sessions, we'd have to stay longer in homework. Like they really are on your ass in high school to really turn you into that professional athlete. But man, yeah, I decided not to pursue anything after that. Just wanted to come home, but I don't regret it, but I would have liked to see if I could have maybe, played at a higher level if going to college maybe would have helped things in the future or as, like where I am now. But man, no regrets. I'm happy where I'm at. But yeah, it was definitely a different experience and getting to play against some super talented players over there. It's just, yeah, it's definitely helped me mold my game.
And what was that call like when you had to call your dad or your parents to say, you know what, is it okay if I kind of stay here and to go finish off high school here? How did they take that news?
Yeah, look, it was definitely tough. It was a big sit down conversation sort of thing. But honestly, a lot of pieces fell into place. Like at a really good time where I just I got, I made a decision where it benefited my academic and like, my athletic development. So I got to go over there. Um, and yeah, I think everyone was sort of shocked at first, to know that I'd be gone at minimum like a year, but it was good. I think my mum was definitely the most devastated, but she wanted to see me succeed and was always happy to see me sort of play my best basketball, and she always wanted me to be happy. So I guess she was just excited I could go do something different.
And you kind of said that you got coached in the US sort of system, in the US way. How do they coach different to like all the international game? Because like every time you hear about the international game, it's all about development, like all the fundamentals about basketball. And you mentioned before with the US system, it's about 1 hour, kind of your athletic ability, kind of like the highlight plays, if that makes sense. How did you find that adjustment, and did you kind of enjoy it, or was it kind of something that you kind of struggled with?
I think I got pretty lucky. I had some really talented teammates that all going over there, I struggled obviously offensively. So having those teammates to sort of show me the ropes as to um, how they play in New York. Our coach was all about like a 5 out sort of offense. Um, so everyone had to sort of learn to create their own shot. But I really played that glue guy for that team because I had such talented teammates. I had some guys that, like me, if they kept playing, they could be over here NBL sort of standard, like really good sort of players. Um, yeah, our coach all about 5-out offense, and just learning off all my teammates really sort of helped like elevate my game to that next level. Like really learning to sort of ISO a guy out, really get your shot off in any way possible. And I was nowhere near as talented as some of my other guys, but we made it work. That's what we worked on. We worked on a lot of coming like guarding someone at speed. You're attacking someone from half court, and they've got to pick you up from about the 3-point line. Like that's difficult.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I had a really good coach. He liked me a lot, so he sort of took me under his wing and like showed me the game and showed me how I can progress as a player. And he really helped me. As soon as I came home, I could see significant improvement. As soon as I started playing against like grown men in that Waratah League when I was playing academy.
So my next question is, what's next for William Mayfield? Like, where do you want your basketball career to kind of take you? And how's life outside of basketball? Like, what's some of your interests and what do you enjoy doing at the moment?
Man, for basketball, honestly, I'm just letting it play out at the moment. I had aspirations, to obviously, play at that next level, but I'm honestly just letting it come to me. Like seriously, I'm not, like, there's always the interest of maybe trying to play overseas, but man, yeah, I'm so stable at the moment at home. Outside of it, really just I got a really good, solid friendship group. Like they're at every game. They're the loudest ones on the sideline.
Mm.
So I spend a lot of time with them. Obviously, I'm working myself, carpenter. So I'm doing like I'm on the grind, man. Just trying to like finish works on my house and things like that. Just keeping myself busy. But during season, I pretty much just keep a low profile. Just really like focus on my basketball, keep myself fit and healthy. Lots of time in the gym. Lots of time just with my like teammates and things like that. Also, another thing that makes our team so special, just everyone getting their work in, such a close knit group. Like it's just, yeah, that's all during season time. But yeah, that's all I really do. Just try and lock in, just here and there, watch footy, try and go to the games when I can. But other than that, just focus on basketball.
Who's your footy team? Canberra Raiders?
Nah, the Manly boys.
Manly Seagulls?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
hey, I got to ask you, man, how do you feel about Turbo playing in the centres?
I don't know.
Do you think
I
it's
don't
just
know.
smoke and mirrors just for him to get his fitness back and then he'll be back at fullback, or is this a long-term thing?
Honestly, don't know. I think he's got to stay centres though. He can't keep up. And like even before he did his last time, he was kind of slow bringing the ball back, not running at 100%. Like he's still amazing. But I like that Lehigh Hopewadi they had back there. He was nice. He played like 4 or 5 first grade games and was killing it. But yeah, man, I don't know. We're tough. It's going to be tough beating some of those other teams too.
Yeah, look, Manly's kind of in a dogfight at the moment. They're in ninth spot, and there's the NRL season starting to heat up, man. And we do cover a lot of NRL here at the Love of the Game.
Yeah.
So look, if we ever do have a Manly sort of segment or anything like that, I'll get you to come along and kind of tell us how you really feel about that team. Luke Brooks, man, have you made Luke Brooks? I'm a Tigers fan. So
Oh
have you
yeah.
made Luke Brooks?
Oh, that's tough. You guys are playing really good at the moment, though.
The
I feel like,
Tigers?
yeah, you guys are picking up. You guys struggled a bit, but man, hey, why wasn't Happy playing Origin? What's going on, dude? He's the best
Yeah,
hooker in the game, man.
But I feel like New South Wales don't really they need that sort of like internal toughness in the middle to kind of get all the
Mm,
thing. But yeah, as you said with the Tigers, look, I kind of see like the effort is there now. We just got to get Jerome Luai. I think at the start of the season, I was like, bro, give me Jerome Luai now. Give us that third
yeah,
wooden spoon and let's just move on because you knew it
yeah,
was coming.
yeah.
Look, before we finish the show, I got 3 love of the game questions for you.
hmm
In the NBL1 East, which matchup do you enjoy the most? Against which player do you kind of circle and go, but I'm going to enjoy this one?
Man, it's a good one. I'm probably gonna have to say, just for like old times, I'm gonna say like for old time's sake. Milburn, obviously, he always has a good game against me, so I always look to like he's just that vet. Like he always plays
Mm.
really good against me. He's smart. But I would say that was the first time I played Chris Bryant, obviously in Hills. I would say he's like a hell of a player. I really want to see him on one of his days, see if I can really like matched defensively with him. Like he obviously had an off game against us, but yeah, man, I think Milburn or Bryant, one of the two of them, I think they just match up really good against myself, and they really take me out of actions and things like that. So definitely those two.
All right, question number 2. Outside the Maitland Mustangs, which team should we keep an eye out for to make a deep run?
Oh man, I would have said the COE if they weren't losing all their like a lot of their players, but I think definitely got to keep an eye on Comets. I reckon after this weekend we'll really see how the finals are going to play out. They're definitely a team to keep their eye on now.
Yeah, because myself personally, I have the Sydney Comets and also Albury. They got the pieces there, and if they can kind of solidify that third scoring person, that team should be really dangerous.
Yeah.
And our third question is from your teammate, Glenn Morrison. What's your favorite Lucas Schmidt attribute?
um, his favorite attribute, I would say that he never rolls on a screen. He always pops to the 3-point line, so he never gets in the way. That's my favorite attribute.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's from your
Yeah,
teammate, Glenn Morrison.
yeah,
So, yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you for the show today, bro. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And look, as I said, you're 24 years of age at the moment. You've kind of got your life in order with your business, your house and everything. You got close family and friends. So yeah, look, fingers crossed your career does take off. And I love of the game, bro. We're going to be following it real close to kind of see how it goes and wishing you all the best.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Beautiful, man. And if you're back here next year, we'll definitely do this again.
Oh, 100%. Keen.